Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we are going to be making these beautiful six pieces skirts. So if this is something that interests you, kindly stay tuned to the end of this tutorial. Thank you. So firstly, these are the measurements we are going to be using. We are going to be using hips of 48, length of 42 and waist of 39. So to cut our six pieces skirt, we will be using our hips measurements. I will be dividing the hip measurements by 6. So that means 48 divided by 6. So whatever hip measurement yours is, you divide it by 6. So this is 8 inches. So on this 8 inches, I'm going to be cutting it on fold. So I'm going to go ahead and divide it by into 2. If you want to cut it straight, you can leave it at 8 inches. So that gives me 4 inches. So when I fold my fabric, I'll be folding 4 inches. That means when I spread the folding, it will give me 8 inches. Then I'm going to go ahead now and add 1 inch seam allowance to it. So that means I'll be folding 5 inches. Remember that at the down part of a six pieces skirt is always flare. So I'm going to go ahead now to add some measurements to this 5 inches to attach my flare to. So if you want something that is very wide, you can go ahead and add like 7-8 inches. 7-8 inches is when it's unfold, but I'm going to go ahead and add 4 inches to mine. I don't want it to be too wide. So when I fold my fabric, I'll be folding it into 9. So what I'm going to be using for my six pieces skirt is 9 inches. So I'm going to go ahead now and start. So guys, I folded my fabric into 9 inches and this is what I'm trying to get. So as you can see, I folded 9 inches from the beginning of the fabric to the end of the fabric. So remember the length of this skirt is 42 inches, but I'm going to add half an inch which I'm going to use to hem it at the waist because it does not have waistband, but I'm going to use zipper. So I'm going to add 1 inch that I'm going to use it to hem at the down part. So that means I'm adding 1.5 inch to the length of the skirt. That means I'll be cutting out 43.5 inches. So guys, I'll go ahead now and measure out the 43.5 inches for the length of this skirt. So guys, this is where the length of the skirt reaches. This line here denotes the length of the skirt. So I'm just trying to bolden the line because the chalk I'm using is slightly matching with that pattern on the fabric. So I'm going to go ahead now and measure my knee length. My knee length is 26.5. So I'll go ahead now to measure my knee length, and on that knee length I'm going to use my ruler to mark it straight, to form a straight line which is going to denote where my knee length is. So from the beginning of the fabric to that knee length, I will go ahead now and measure the 5 inches that we are going to use. Remember, we are using 5 inches for the hip line measurements. So that's what I'm trying to mark out now. So I'm going to measure 5 inches down from the beginning of the fabric to the knee length. So once I get that 5 inches, I'll take my ruler and just use it to connect those points, to use it to form a straight line. So this is a straight line I formed, and that side is my 5 inches. So from the knee length down to the end of the skirts, I'm going to use my ruler to connect it in a slant form. So I'm going to connect that from that knee length, 5 inches on the knee length. I'm going to connect it to the 9 inches at the end of the skirt. I hope you understand what I just did now. So if you don't understand, please look at what I just did. So now after that, I'm going to go to my knee length again and go up by 2.5 inches. From my knee length, I'm going to mark 2.5 inches upward. Then I'm going to go in at that 2.5 inches. I'm going to go in by 1 inch. So I'm going to curve that into the hip line that I've already marked, and I'm going to curve it into the knee length again. So the way I'm doing now, so I'm trying to curve it to the knee length, then I'll curve it into the hip length as well, hip line as well. This is to form, give it a form of shape around that knee line. No six pieces have shape around that knee side. So that's what I just formed now. So I'm trying to blend any sharp edges around that side. So we are practically done drafting out a single piece of our six pieces skirt. So I'll go ahead now to cut out this piece of our six pieces skirts. So this is one piece out of the six pieces. So we have five more pieces to go. But this is how it looks when it's opened. But remember I said I'm attaching zipper to this skirt. So I want to go ahead now to cut out the parts that have zipper allowance. So you will understand how you will cut it. So once I'm done with that, then I'll go ahead and cut the mini pieces off camera. But right now, let's go to the parts that have zipper allowance. So I folded another piece of fabric and I'm trying to mark out 1.5 inches zipper allowance from the beginning of the fabric straight to the end of the fabric. So once I finish marking out the zipper allowance, I'm going to pick the center of the other piece that I marked, of the other piece that I've already cut out. So I'm going to place it on this, I'm going to place the center on the line that denotes the start of the zipper allowance. I hope you get what I just said. So after placing it there like that, I'm just going to align it properly and pin it firmly all around. So once I pin it, I'm going to go ahead and cut it out. So before I remove the other piece, I'm going to notch the starting point of the zipper allowance both at the top of the skirt and at the down of the skirt. So once I notch both sides like that, we remove the pin so I can remove the other piece. Then after that, I'm going to slash open the zipper allowance. So after I slash it open, I'm just going to notch, I'm going to mark the wrong side of these pieces because the right and the wrong side are so looking alike. So once I'm done with that, I'm going to fold the back panel. So this is how the back panel is, the piece with the zipper allowance. So this is how it is two. So once I sew the zipper allowance together, it's going to be the same measurements as the other pieces. So now I'm just going to go ahead and fold it now and set it aside. So I'm going to pick the other piece that I've cut out and use it to cut out the remaining four pieces of these six pieces skirts. So guys, I've cut out our pieces. So this is the first piece. So this is the second piece, the third piece, the fourth piece, the fifth piece, and the sixth piece. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to cut out the linings for each of these pieces. So guys, I've gone ahead to cut the lining for each of these pieces. So it's time to start sewing. So the first thing I'm going to do is to place the lining on the wrong side of each pieces. So I've placed it on it like this, and I'll take it to my machine and sew it straight, and I will do that for all the pieces. Guys, I've gone ahead to join the lining to every piece of these six pieces skirts. So I join it on the wrong side, and this is what I have for all of the pieces of the skirt. So this is how all the pieces will look like on the wrong side. So at the same time have taken in my zipper allowance, so I attached the lining to it as well. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to start sewing start joining each pieces together. So I'm going to place two pieces on each other, the right side facing each other. Then I'm going to align it properly. Then I'll pin it the way I am pinning it now. So once I'm done pinning it, I'll take it to my machine and just sew it down with half an inch. So I'll sew it down with half an inch from the top to the end. So after that, I'll open it up and place another piece on the side to form the three pieces for the front panel. For the back panel, I'm going to place the one with the zipper allowance at the middle. Then I'll place another piece on it as well, and I'm going to pin it together. Remember, when you are placing each pieces on each other, you are supposed to let the right side face each other. So once I've pin it together, I'll sew it down as well. Then I'll open it up and place the third piece on the other side of the back of the zipper piece. So I'll go ahead now and do all that. So after joining it together, this is what I have. This is the back panel. So I've attached zipper to the back panel. The zipper is longer than the back panel, but I'm going to cut it off when I'm joining together. So let me show you the front panel as well. This is the front panel. So I've joined the sides together. I'm supposed to press it open so it will lie flat, but there's no light. So if you are sewing yours, you should press it open so it will lie flat and you not make mistake while measuring. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to go ahead and fold each panel into two. The front panel, I'll fold the front panel into two, and I'll fold the back panel into two as well. So once I fold them into two, I will place them on each other, align it properly, and just pin it down. Then after that, I will start shaping. So it's time to shape our skirts. So the waist measurement is 39 divided by 4, that's 9.75. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 9.75. Then I will add 1 1/4 of an inch seam allowance to it. So from my waist to my hip, it is 10 inches. My hip line is 10 inches. So I'm going to go ahead and mark that 10 inches. Then I will mark my hip measurement, which is 12 inches. I'll mark it, and I will mark 1 1/4 of an inch seam allowance to it. So I'll take my curve rule and use it to connect those points together. So once I connect it together, I'm going to connect it down to the knee length as well to give our skirts a kind of nice shape. So once I do that, I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excesses. Guys, see the nice shape that we have formed. So I'm just going to go ahead now and unpin it, separate the front and the back panel, then place them on each other, making sure the right sides are facing each other. So once I place them on each other, right side facing each other, I'm going to take it to my machine and sew it down on one side with 1 1/2 inch. Then I'll sew it down on the other side with 1 1/4 of an inch rather. So after doing that, I'm going to go ahead and fold in the waist part like this to make it look neat. So after folding it, I'll go ahead and hem the end of the skirts, then that's all. So guys, this is the final look of our 6-piece skirt. Thank you guys so much for watching this tutorial. Please do well to like this video and subscribe to this YouTube channel to enjoy more content. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.